Hey everyone, Erin from the Impatient Gardener, and I want to know, does your garden look like mine right now? So what's happening in my garden is that some things are looking great. Some plants are just hitting their stride and everything looks like great. It's what we've been waiting for all year. And other things are either really tired or they never really worked that well from the get-go. So I decided sometimes I just let those things that aren't working at this time of year, I just let them go because I figure we don't have a lot of garden season left, and is it worth the time and the money and the effort to do something? But this year I'm not going to do that in some cases because the rest of the garden looks so good, and I hate walking through it and just seeing this area that just looks like garbage. So that's what we're going to be working on today. I don't want to look at these ugly areas while I'm enjoying the rest of the garden that's actually looking really beautiful. So this year I'm going to plant some stuff there. And we're going to plant things that will have as long of a season as we possibly can, given that we are into mid-September now. So the first area we're dealing with is actually right off this path. So you might be recalled that earlier this year we planted up this urn that used to be the urn that was in the middle. It broke. I just stuck the bowl in here. I planted it with Salvia argentea and Gara, neither of which is happy because they're not getting much sun because I planted 4-foot tall dahlias around them. So they're really tucked in there. But it's a cute little area, and this area will only get thinner as the season goes on. So we're going to pull this out and plant and replant this so that this looks nice because it looks really, really, really terrible. The slugs have had their way with these already unhappy plants. So I have a confession to make. I don't like mums. I've planted mums in the past because for a lot of years, the only plants you could find in fall were mums. These days we have more options, and I actually went to one of my favorite, it's pansies. You guys, I love pansies, and most people think of pansies as a spring flower, but our springs are so late that I often don't plant spring flowers because the ground is still frozen or it's too cold to plant something, and then like 3 weeks later we're into time to plant for summer. So I plant pansies in the fall, and that's what we're going to do here. I've picked up a couple of mixes. This is Colossus Fire, and I think this one is Colossus Red Blotch, a mix of these. And I'm going to put these in here. I think this will be great autumn color in there. And then I also thought it'd be really cute too later in the season, because I'm not going into pumpkins and gourds territory yet. But I thought later in the season I could also plunk like a few little gourds in the middle of it or something. Might be really cute. But for now, we're just going to do the pansies. Well, I don't think there's any argument that that looks a million times better. Just a couple of notes on how I planted that. I just pulled the plants out and shook off the soil and planted right in that because I planted with the Organics Mechanics container blend. And one of the nice things about that is that you can reuse that from season to season. It doesn't just like run out of everything. So the one thing I forgot to do until the end was that I was going to throw a little bit of fertilizer in there. At this point in the season, I don't go buy new stuff because then I just have to store it over winter. So I just used up some of the Espoma rose tone I have. Unfortunately, I forgot to do that before I planted, so no big deal. I just worked it in between the plants. It'll be fine. Okay, so on to the next area. So the next area we're going to deal with is part of the circle garden that I showed you wasn't really working out anymore in the tour that we did a couple of weeks ago. It's where I planted super petunias and super beena together. The petunias didn't do great for me this year. All of the petunias I planted in the ground did not do well for me this year. And the super beena kind of took over, which was fine because it's beautiful and I love it, but unfortunately I didn't keep up with trimming it regularly. So what happened was I ended up with a whole bunch of plants that had a lot of flowers on the end and nothing in the middle. And I just think cutting it back at this point is probably not worth it. So we're gonna do pansies again. I realize I'm a broken record here, but I love pansies and I think they're cute. But we're gonna go with a kind of a blue and yellow and sort of purple scheme for these because why not? Hey, I'm just breaking in with a tip here, which is about these containers. These are the little containers that the pansies came in. And these are perfect for replanting when you're growing things from seed in spring. What's really great about them is they're a nice size, so you won't have to bump up your seedlings. But even more than that, it will keep you from growing an entire flat of the same thing, which most of us don't need to be doing, and I do it all the time. So, and it has this nice little carrying handle, although I usually take it out so I can stack them. Anyway, just wash these out and you've got a great container to use for spring. And if you like this tip and if you like this video, do me a favor and think about subscribing. It helps me a lot and it's completely free. You just do it with the little subscribe button right below the video here. Click that, and if you want to get notifications from when I have a new video, you can also click the bell. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Back to the video. In case you were wondering why I planted those in such a haphazard way, it's because I had several different varieties and I wanted to make sure they were equally distributed throughout there. Now, I did just cut back the chive hedge 3 or 4 days ago. You can see how much it's already regrown. So that was the second cut back of the year, so this will be the third growth for those. I'll get one more good growth out of them for the fall, save some in the freezer, and I'll have some all winter to enjoy. But in the meantime, I've got much prettier flowers to look at over here. Yep, it's a little bit more money. They're not gonna last forever, although there's a chance that these could overwinter and bloom again for me in spring. And if that happens, then that is well worth the money, but we'll see. It's never worked for me before, but it feels good to freshen things up a little bit. All right, so that's my way of getting around what I call the mum conundrum. Which is that I just don't want to plant mums. So I planted pansies. All right, I hope you're having a great day in your garden. See you soon.